Well, hello, folks. Pastor Rocky Branch, Spruce Pine First Baptist Church. Hope you're doing well today. Today is Monday. We're on our second day now since the storm came. So 365, 67, 60, 65, 66, 67, 367 days ago, the storm came to us. And as we had a time yesterday of reflection in our church family, and we heard from some folks that were key players during this time, and we were blessed to hear that. Last night, yesterday afternoon, some of us in the church van went up to Nicholsville, Virginia, and I preached up there at, I think it was Hopewell or New Hope Methodist Church. They started a revival for a couple of days up there, and I was asked to come. And we took the bus, or the van rather, and went up there and got back later last night. But, revival is something that's needed in our land, certainly. And when things happen like the flood, storms, disasters, murder like this Charlie Kirk, or other things, people get their attention. They get their ears up on edge. And then the sad thing is sometimes that goes away. And I certainly hope that our ears stay up on edge as far as the church goes, because we need to be aware of what God is doing. And one of the ways that we're aware of this is our testimony. And this is really passionate in my heart to say to you that one of the things that is kept in my own life and in the life of my wife, Miss Janice, that's kept the fire burning is our testimony, to remember what God has done, and just take that trip down memory lane just to think about how good God has been. Paul told his testimony everywhere he went. I mean, he shared what God had done with him and through him and was using him. And that's what God will do for us. And I just wonder this morning if we could talk for just a minute about your testimony. What has God done for you in your salvation experience? I know he's blessed us all as far as life goes. We understand that. But what about your testimony? And then I have to ask this question. I think it's pertinent to the subject matter. When's the last time you've shared your testimony? Do you know that there's some people that have never shared their testimony for a couple of reasons? One of the big ones is they think that it's not important. They think like, and I've had this said many, 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 many times to me, well, Pastor, my past wasn't like your past, so I don't have nothing to say much. Well, that's as wrong as it can be, because the testimony of the person that didn't have to go down the road I went down, God bless that person. They've got a better testimony than I'll ever have, because they stood strong and said no to the world and accepted Christ as a younger age and went forward and observed him for these years. That's an enormously important testimony, because in this modern day, people need to hear that they don't have to go down the hog pen trail that I took. They can be right in church and accept Christ as a kid, young person, if you will, and live their life for Christ. That's far better than what I've got. I mean, mine comes with broken hearts and broken lives and broken stuff and memory that'll haunt you forever. And even though that's good, don't get me wrong now, I'm not going to change that because God's been good to me. But everybody normally have trouble with their testimony of where they've been or where they haven't been. And God is looking for us to share that light. So when is the last time that you've done that? You might say, well, I haven't done it because I just don't have much to say. Well, sure you do. If you belong to Jesus Christ, there was a time in your life that you met him. There was a time in your life when you came to understand that he was your Savior. Paul says it this way in Galatians chapter 1. Paul says in verse 15, "But when it pleased God, who separated me from my mother's womb and called me by his grace to reveal his Son in me, that I might preach him," that's Christ, "among the heathen, immediately I conferred not with flesh and blood. Neither went I up to Jerusalem to them that were the apostles before me, but I went into Arabia and returned again to Damascus. And after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter and abode with him 15 days. And the other of the apostles saw I none except James, the Lord's brother. So Paul is telling here how that God separated him and called him, and that's his testimony. And you have one if you're saved, and it needs to be shared. That's why that we lack revival. I believe with all of my heart, with all of my heart that we lack revival because people don't share what God's done with them. And they think either they've been not bad enough or they've been too bad or too good or whatever. And folks, listen, our testimony builds faith in the lives of other people. And you can work with people for years and years and years and never know anything about them. They may say, I'll go to church, but that doesn't mean anything. You've got to be born again. You've got to have that testimony. You've got to have that light, that power. That's what gets people's attention. When you tell something that you know's happened to you, that stirs folks up. And I'm going to challenge you now, because we're on new ground as far as this storm goes. We're on the second day of it. This is the first week after the storm. A year later, we're on new ground. And it's a good time to make a difference in Bible study, in reading for yourself, in prayer time, in your community, as you walk and talk to people on your job. This is a new time to tell what the Lord has done for you. And if you do that, God will bless you for it. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.